So in this video, we're going to talk about a system and a framework that you can use to grow your business going into 2025, and really something that we created to simplify the process of getting leads for your drone business. So let's dive right in. If you don't know who I am, my name is Eno Umo. I am a pilot turned drone consultant, and now I help drone businesses around the globe with marketing and sales and really to improve their business strategy. So we call this the L.E.A.D.S system, the L.E.A.D.S framework. Every letter has its own definition. So for L, we have locate your audience. For E, we have engage with outreach. For A, we have audit your brand assets. For D, we have develop relationships. And for the S, we have scale with system. So we're going to break down each of these letters one by one and how you can use the system to get more leads, regardless if you're a one-person show or if you have a team that you're developing as well. So first up, let's talk about the L in L.E.A.D.S, and that is locate your audience. So when we say locate, this is something that you want to do online and offline as well. A lot of times we get a little comfortable with the ability to meet people virtually or look up on Google, but it's equally, if not more important, to meet people in person. And I always say people do business with people they know. So if you're not shaking hands, if you're not at these in-person events, you're really never going to get that connection that you need to close clients. And we'll get into more of like how to develop relationships, but you need to locate where your clients are. So let's start with online. Online, of course, we have different platforms like searching on Google or LinkedIn. We have other social media platforms. I would say that it really depends on where your audience spends the most time, right? If you think about, let's say, a construction site manager or energy or architecture, these type of professionals are likely going to be spending a lot of their time on LinkedIn. So there's really not going to be a need for an Instagram page, for a TikTok page, and really spending time and energy on places where they're not going to be. If you're looking at more realtors, more like creatives, cinematography, film, and things like that, then yes, they will likely be on a site like Instagram. And I would encourage you to spend a lot of time there, reaching out to folks and establishing relationships. But the biggest mistake I see a lot of drone companies make is they create social profiles on all these platforms, and the audience are not there for them to communicate with them anyway. So it is really a waste of time spending a lot of time there where your audience is not going to be. So be very clear online, and this could also be forums. There's a number of different ways that you can find where they spend their time online. Now offline, these could be business networking meetings. I always like to consider going to industry-specific events. So if you're into agriculture, look and see when the next agriculture conference is coming up, or if there are any meetups happening in your town or your city. But you want to be making sure that you're able to meet these people in person. You also want to be seeking out different bid opportunities. And these are typically for large-scale government jobs. Even if you're not planning on bidding on the actual job, there's typically a list of contractors that are interested in that particular job and bidding on that project, and you can now reach out to them. One of the things that we used to do, we used to actually go to the pre-bid meeting. It's a multi-million construction project. Now when everyone at the pre-bid meeting introduced themselves, we're like the only drone company there. We automatically stick out, and then we're able to use that to spark up relationships with people at the meeting. There are other strategies and ways to get involved: meetups, conferences, networking events. Just make sure that you're putting yourself out there, different chamber of commerce as well. So it's not just enough to identify these leads, you need to also track them as well. So I suggest using a simple spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, where you can keep their name, company, email address, mark if they're hot, warm, or cold. And from there, you can identify who you need to be reaching out to and the follow-up sequence that you can get into over time. But again, the L in our L.E.A.D.S framework is for locating your audience, and you want to make sure that you're doing that consistently. Next up, we have engage. So now that you've located your audience, you now need to engage with them. And this is also a very underrated activity, but you have to do deliberate outreach. And I say often, your number one job as a drone business owner is not flying drones. It's actually marketing and sales. So you need to be engaging your audience, you need to be reaching out to them. Nowadays, we have the concept of sell by chat. So you can actually reach out directly in the DMs to decision makers. Once you friend them on LinkedIn, once you friend them on Instagram, you can now send a pre-scripted message, personalized, of course, but you want to make sure that you are sending a message to them and trying to set up meetings where you can explain your services a bit more. So typically we suggest reaching out to at least 20 contacts per day. And this is really going to help you not only just get in a rhythm and have that consistency of reaching out to clients, but you're going to be able to get some metrics on, okay, how many calls are we booking out of 100? If we're reaching out to 100 people and we're only getting responses from 5, maybe there's something that we can tweak the messaging to improve that, right? But none of this happens without tracking your data, and that 20 touch points a day is really crucial. So it doesn't have to be just DMs. It could be calls to potential clients. It could be an email as well, but 20 touch points you want to make sure that you have per day to keep that repetition. And you don't need to go in salesy and offer all your state-of-the-art drone services. Just start a conversation. Be genuine. These are actual people too, right? So you want to go to their page, see a project that they've recently been involved in, or some big announcement, tell them congratulations, and have some sort of familiarity with them, right? So, hey, we both work in the construction industry, looking to reach out and make some connections. So copy and paste this, use this for your outreach, and this really will help you start to establish relationships. Next up in leads is the A, and the A stands for audit your brand. And as you're reaching out, you want to make sure that your brand is in order, right? That includes everything from your website, and most importantly, making sure you have the right marketing materials. One of the things that we do often for clients are create these ebooks, these lead magnets that really can help nurture how you reach out to clients. And the biggest mistake is a lot of times drone business owners can think that we can just send people to the website and they should be able to see everything from there. But you need multiple touch points like with your potential clients. It takes more than just sending them a link to your website. So this is everything from your lead magnet. This is the pitch deck that you're using during a meeting. Maybe you initially meet them at an in-person function. So you have a business card and you have a one-pager, right? So you have these different marketing materials, different touch points that really explain the problem that you solve. And there are other videos on this channel that talk about branding, how your brand kit should be and what should be involved. But bottom line, you want to make sure your brand is in order when you're reaching out to folks. Your first impression is everything, and people will absolutely judge how your brand looks and sounds. So you want to make sure that these things are in order before you reach out to potential clients. So lastly, when we say audit your brand, you also want to make sure that you have some case studies on your website. And this really is that proof, that social proof, and that people will need to really understand that you are the person for the job. So I always suggest, of course, having testimonials on your website from previous clients, but specifically you want to have case studies. And case studies typically include 3 things. It's the problem that your client had, the solution that you brought for that problem, and then the overall result, which typically is some statistical number on how you were able to help them. So make sure you have 3 to 5 case studies on your website. These can also be repurposed into blog content, to social media content, right? So it's not just something that's going to sit on your website. But to give that confidence to high-end clients, you're going to need at least 3 to 5 case studies to show them that you can actually do this work. We're now at the D in leads, and that stands for really developing trust through content. And content is very important because it's something that's going to position you as the authority, the thought leader in your space. And these are the type of things that will separate you from your competition. If you're not putting out content, if you're not talking about your expertise or showing people the different jobs that you're doing, you really can't expect people just to want to choose you, right? They have to have a reason to choose you. And a lot of times that's done through consistent content. So think top 5 reasons why drones are being used in energy, right? That's a blog post topic. Or even just showing some behind the scenes from another client that you're working with, right? It could even be a rival, probably even better if it's a rival, right? Because they're not able to see that you're helping out their competition and they may become interested as well. But for here, we typically suggest definitely starting an email list. It's not something that you have to be sending out every day, but your email list is going to help you keep some engagement with your audience. I would suggest just starting with a monthly newsletter that just touches on a few points, maybe some jobs that you've done. Even if you haven't done any jobs, you can reference some old sites that you shot before and just talk about any updates that you have. That concept of out of sight, out of mind is very real. And if your potential clients aren't hearing from you, they'll more than likely forget about you as well. So anyone that you've ever talked to about drone technology, if you had a meeting or have any contacts or any business cards that you collected, I would just put them on a list. So really, I would suggest anyone that you have talked to or met with or has expressed interest in your services before, I would add them to a list and then send out a monthly newsletter. And then at least that guarantees that you're going to be able to talk to that audience. I'll talk more about this in another video about why email is so much more effective and crucial than social media. But the bottom line is your email list is owned as opposed to your social media, which essentially is rented eyes. The algorithm changes on any given day, and your email list is the only source where you can actually reach your audience directly. So you definitely want to be building your email list over time to stay relevant. Lastly, for the S in leads is for scaling with systems. And really for any of this to come to fruition, you have to be delegating tasks, right? Implementation of these systems is not something that one person can do, especially if you are out and you're shooting and you're driving and all day and you're actually on the site. There's no way you're gonna have enough time to do in the day to do everything. This is including family time, personal matters, everything that you have to do as a working professional in this world. So first thing for scaling with systems is really just to block your time. And so one thing I try to do is not have any meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And really that allows me some time to do some deep work, create content just like this. And that really allows me to push the needle forward. If I'm not dedicating that time to deep work, specifically to meetings, things are just simply not going to get done. So find out what time of the week works best for you. It could be Saturday, it could be Sunday, it could be evenings, but the work has to absolutely get done if you want it to grow. It's not going to be something that just happens on its own. So find time to dedicate to getting specific tasks done and then leave your other tasks for other times. And then you want to just make sure that you are delegating all non-essential tasks to VAs or assistants that can help. There are a ton of resources online from Fiverr to Upwork that you can find assistants to help you with various tasks. But as I just said, there's no way that you can get all these things done on your own. So you want to make sure that you can have someone that can help with administrative tasks or even writing proposals, video editing, photo editing. These are operational tasks that really take time away from you doing marketing and sales. And so it's a clear way you can look at it. You can define whatever action you're doing, is it a revenue generating activity? And if it's not, then you need to find someone to outsource it to so that your time can now be dedicated to marketing and sales. So develop SOPs and processes for these people to follow. Be very clear on where to upload footage or where to download it from or how to post and all the logins and templates. And if this is a topic of interest, I'm happy to make a video on this topic as well. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're alleviating the stress and anxiety that comes with doing everything by yourself. So just a quick recap. Again, we have the LEAD system, L for locate your audience, E for engage with outreach, A for audit your brand, D for develop trust through content, and then S for scaling with systems. I can promise you, if you implement this strategy and take it in your day-to-day operations, you will see growth over time. If you need help with this, as I mentioned, my name is Eno. I'm a pilot turned consultant, and this is what I do. I have a marketing agency that helps drone business owners with lead generation, with content strategy, with funnels, with really telling the message and getting their story out there and building a better brand. So I'm more than happy to take a look at your website, give you some quick strategy and improvements there. And if it's something that you want to do, you can end up working with our team and VAs that we have to help move the needle forward. So links are in the description. Book a call with me, download the free resources, and I'll see you in the next video.